All right. Good afternoon, because it's officially noon. Unless you're somewhere else, then good morning or good evening, however it might be. Welcome, YouTube. I'm Glenn Trahan, and it's been a while. Hope you made it through COVID so far. Hopefully you make it through all the way. For those of you who are still trying to get some more Hazmat understanding, let's talk about shipping papers today. I want to tell you about a really good friend of mine. His name's Bill. Bill was a child prodigy. At the age of 14, Bill got his pilot's license. All smiles. And Bill got so good at flying that he was able to carry anything that he wanted, anything that anybody else wanted, anything. Sometimes that involved hazmats. And every time that Bill would have to fly his airplane with hazmats, his hazmat would all be documented in his air bill. He got tired of flying though. And when he did, he said he wanted to see America. And the best way he could think to see America was to do so on a train. Sometimes when he started, Bill was relegated to the caboose at the back of the train, right behind the low pressure car that was behind the box car that was behind the pressure car that was right behind. And one day he finally got to be in the engine. The only difficulty is that trains, if you've ever pulled up to a railroad crossing on a street, you'll know what I'm talking about. You look left all the way down the tracks. You look right all the way down the tracks. I mean, you can see the end of the tracks, right? You can't really. They just fade off in the distance because all trains eventually go away. And so on this train, when Bill would be hauling these hazardous materials, it would be on his way bill. Now, you may have been at that crossing and you got there just a little bit too late, and so the train was already there, and it was just going and going and going. And you needed to know that that train was a very long train, so you knew if you needed to turn and go somewhere else. Well, those trains that are really long, and sometimes trains that are really short, will have hazmat paperwork that tells you what that train consists of. The consist is another form of documentation for hazardous materials that are shipped via train. Now, I told you that Bill was a child prodigy. As a child prodigy, I need to share a very tragic story, and one that many of you may have heard about. That Hollywood is not a place for young boys or young women. At least it wasn't. And back in the day, when Bill, the young child prodigy, was able to remember everything and was able to remember lines, Bill worked in that world. And unfortunately, what happened in the news, Bill was a part of that. And Bill didn't take it well. He wanted to get back at them. And what he did was Bill, after he'd already flown for a while and he'd already gone away, trying to get away from it all, Bill said, you know what, I'm going to get them back the way I know it's going to affect them. I'm going to get them where it hurts, in the money. And so, still having his contacts with all of his Hollywood friends, he would get invited to the previews. And Bill would go to those previews and secretly record them so that later, while he was driving across the country in an 18-wheeler, he could play similar to some of those 18-wheeler trailers that you may have seen in the news that have the TV screen or the the video screen on the back so that you can see what's coming at you. He has a trailer that you could play on the side, and he would play his pirated videos on the side of his 18-wheeler so that people wouldn't have to go to the theaters and pay the money that would make Hollywood any money. And he thought he was getting back at the guys that had did him wrong when he was young. I told him, I said, Bill, you are, but you're also, I need you to remember something. Remember all those extras that are in the movies? The ones who are just scraping by and needing that check just to be able to pay rent or to get a meal for the week? Bill, when you take money from Hollywood, you're taking money from those extras too. And Bill felt bad. I said, Bill, you're the one hurting them. You're hurting those extras. And Bill felt so bad. He was so bad feeling that he was heavy laden. That bill of lading is what that truck driver carries when he carries hazmat. Sorry, there's just not any way to say laden or lading without that. Now, we've covered the planes and the trains and the automobiles. There's one more form of transport that we want to talk about today. And it's one that's near and dear to my heart. It's the ships. After I told Bill about this, and Bill felt so heavy laden, he was very remorseful. He said, I'm changing over. I don't need to get back in them. He tried to see the country. Well, now he wanted to see the world. So Bill got his captain's license and he became a ship captain. And ship captains that carry cargo up on top of the decks also carry cargo below the decks, all that fun stuff. Well, that cargo is sometimes dangerous. Why is it sometimes dangerous cargo? Because sometimes it's hazardous materials. It's not bad if it's all inside of its container, but if that cargo ever manifests itself by getting out of the container, well, then that captain needs to have that dangerous cargo manifest paperwork to know what it is that he's dealing with or that she's dealing with so that they can report that to those people who are going to be able to come and make it all better. So as a recap, my friend Bill helped us today learn about the air bill that the pilot will have on the plane when they're transporting hazardous materials. My friend Bill was able to help us with the way bill on a train that the engineer or the conductor, a member of the train crew, will have when a hazardous material is being transported by train. My friend Bill was able, as a truck driver, to tell us that the paperwork that they would have is the bill of lading. My friend Bill was able to tell us, as a ship's captain, that the hazardous material paperwork that they would have is the dangerous cargo manifest. I hope that this makes it a little bit easier for you to remember and understand the paperwork, the shipping papers that will be had for hazardous materials, and that you have a great day.